What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JP Show podcast. I am your host, J to the P, and I know I took about like a week off. I took a little break, only because I've been very, very busy lately, doing what I got to do to keep this going and get some other things going too. I got big dreams, big plans. The marathon continues, and so just took a little break just to ease myself. The last thing I dropped was on Halloween, The Exorcist. That was a fun episode. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, watch it. Um, Another fun fact, since the last episode. So last month I took like a monthly fast. I called it Sober October. I didn't drink any alcohol, and I didn't smoke any weed. I didn't consume any vices. My vices anyway. I decided to take a break from them. So today's episode, I will be smoking. This is what I do. I like to do it. And if you haven't noticed, before, my logo for the show is it's a green background, a specific type of green, and it represents a lot of things. But one of the things it represents is green. So, go figure. So, today's episode is going to be special. I'm going to break it into two parts. Right now, you're listening to part one. And I'm really going to get into like I'm definitely going to get into my fan, JP. You know what I'm saying? I'm a geek when it comes to this stuff. I'm also going to get into like my political philosophy, social, you know what I mean? All of this stuff that I like to, think about and talk about. And I'm going to get into that, especially for the movie that we're covering in this two-parter. So I'm super excited for today's episode. And I'm going to just go ahead and announce it. So Black Panther, Wakanda Forever came out, the sequel to the Black Panther, part 2. And I saw it twice, man. I saw it twice. Like, it was mad. It was fire, dog. Like, I really, really enjoyed that movie, man. The first time I saw it, it hit me in a way, I didn't expect, only because, like, I could relate. I definitely related to what was going on in one of the themes in the film. And it was very, 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 very good. And it hit me like the first one hit me. You know what I mean? Just definitely just a great watch. Definitely feeling seen, represented, all those things, all of them. On the screen. And it definitely, every time I see these types of films, man, it gives me the battery in my back to keep going, man. Being a filmmaker, being a creative, especially a black one in society in this country, it's definitely a hard one. It's a hard road. But seeing these things happen, especially for people that look like me, definitely recharges me and lets me keep going. But I want to talk about Black Panther too, but I will in part 2 of this segment, this 2-part episode. But we are going to get back into the first one. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now. Okay, I don't really think I need to explain the film like that. Like, you know how I do. Quick synopsis. If you haven't seen Black Panther, you've been sleeping under a rock. I don't even think I need to say spoilers or whatever like that, but whatever, spoiler alert. I'm just going to get into it. MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of our main characters in the Avengers, part of the Avengers, is T'Challa of Wakanda, King of Wakanda, aka the Black Panther. And part one, it takes place after the events of Captain America: Civil War. That's where we were introduced to Chadwick Boseman playing as the Black Panther. And we go from the events after Civil War. We end up in we're on the continent of Africa. He does his thing as a Black Panther, rescuing some refugees or some people being in some sort of trade, human trafficking. And his love interest is where we're introduced to her immediately, Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o. And pretty much, yeah, we already know who he is, so we're just going into his world now. Wakanda's beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Angela Bassett is the queen. Well, not yet. But we, yeah, it was just, we're introduced to the world of Wakanda. He takes his place as king. He has to go through the ritual process of fighting for the throne because Wakanda is made up of different tribes of the nation. And he fights, what's his name? The character's played by Winston Duke. Is leaving me, smoking weed. He runs the Jabari tribe. Matter of fact, where's my phone at? We just Google all this right now. Matter of fact, we good. I have it here. M'Baku. How can I forget M'Baku? M'Baku. He beats M'Baku, and yeah, he beats M'Baku. He's crowned the king of Wakanda and mantle of Black Panther. And then we get into a nice little museum robbery from a nice young man from America, Oakland, California. And I'd even touch on his backstory. His father, who is the prince of Wakanda in the 90s before T'Challa, is he's T'Challa's uncle. He gets killed by his own brother, who's the king, T'Challa's father. And T'Chaka, I think that's his father's name. And yeah, kills his brother. Leaves his nephew in Oakland, of all places. You leave your, you know what I'm saying? You left his ass in Oakland, California in 92, whatever the year it was. Nuts. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Don't do that. But it's cool. I mean, it's not, but whatever. It's cool. Moving forward. We going back to where I was at. Yeah. So we get a nice little museum robbery from a nice young man by the name of Eric Stevens. And who's a mercenary, former Black Op, CIA, military type special ops dude, and he's he's running around with Ulysses Claw, who we're introduced to in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and yeah, running around and robbed the museum. Steals like this tribal mask, he on his criminal shit, his international thievery shit. And this alerts Claw, who has been on the Wakandan radar, government radar, of some terrorism, right? You know what I mean? He's a mercenary, and in Avengers Age of Ultron, we kind of get, when we're introduced to him, he's in possession of vibranium, the very thing that the nation of Wakanda is founded on. So he managed to get his hands on some in Age of Ultron. Fast forward to now, the time of the Black Panther. He pops up on their radar, And they link up in some underground casino in Korea on a mission to get Claw, bring him back to Wakanda for justice. And he fails to do that. And he manages to get Claw, but he fails to do it because there's a scene where the CIA and the Wakandan, Black Panther, the king is there, his general Okoye is there, and they lose him because Eric Stevens busts him out. And when he busts him out of the when he's in possession of the CIA and the Wakandan, the Black Panther, don't need to get all formal. Notices something around his neck that he, looks just like, it's very identical to what he has. It's the same ring his father has. Eric Stevens has the same ring too. I'm talking like y'all don't know what the hell, like what the fuck is going on. Anyways, wrap it up. He finds out Eric Stevens. So Eric Stevens kills Claw, brings him to Wakanda, finds out who Eric Stevens is in Dajaka, the cousin of T'Challa and the royal family, the cousin, the nephew, all of that. Hey, auntie. So we he finds out and he's like, yo, what is going on? You know what I mean? And he finds out there's some dark family history, yo. It's like it's not everything, it's not all rosy and everything. He grew up a prince, you know what I mean? Conditioned to be a king, and everything is just, on some royal family shit. And he's like, nah, man, your family ain't royal, your pops ain't shit, all this other stuff. My dad's dead because your daddy killed my daddy. That's why he there. Like, and y'all left me there? Bet. All right, cool. I definitely got beef with you. It's personal. But also, it's his right, it's his birthright to fight T'Challa for the throne. Beats T'Challa, and his purpose, Eric Stevens, his character arc is like, yo, I'm gonna do this. I'm taking the throne by force because y'all are doing the thing that, you know what I mean? Y'all are failing to do the one thing that could, end the one thing that's keeping black people down. Straight up oppression, suppression is straight racism. It's global, it's worldwide. Anti-blackness is worldwide. We'll get into the political talk in a second. But so his character arc is like, I'm taking the throne because I know as king, I'm a better ruler. I'm about to free all black people around the globe, and ain't nobody stopping me. Nobody stop, not you, ain't none of y'all stopping me. You know what I'm saying? And that's the energy on. I'm like, yeah, let's get it popping. Where do I sign up for this military? Let's get it popping. Let's free all black people around the world. We're about to free all black people around the world in today's time. I'll get into my politicalness in a second. Give me a second. All right, let me wrap this up. Beats T'Challa, tosses his ass over a cliff. I'm talking like this because I'll tell you why in a second. But he beats T'Challa, takes the throne, and now there's a divide amongst like T'Challa and the family, the royal family, and like Okoye, the general, whose sole purpose is to advise and watch over the throne. And even though we don't like the person on the throne, due to tradition and respecting the tradition, I have to follow this guy. You know what I mean? Like, T'Challa lost. Like, it was just, like, he lost. Ain't nothing, traditionally, nothing wrong happened. They fought, T'Challa lost, and, Eric Stevens is now King of Wakanda. because he is Wakandan. Um, then what happens? So they flee to the mountains to the Jabari tribe. That's where M'Baku is, and they find out that T'Challa he did survive the fall off the cliff, but he's badly hurt. He's injured. He's all messed up. He could die if they try to take him back to Wakanda, the Wakandan capital, and they give him the heart shaped herb because during after he's crowned king, Eric is crowned king. He goes through to the ancestral plane, gave him the power of the Black Panther through the heart shaped herb. Nakia manages to steal one of the herbs after he had his vision with his pops, which was extremely sad because his dad was in the ancestral plane in Oakland. Like his heaven is Oakland. It's sad. Like that's where he died. You know what I mean? He wasn't buried in at home or nothing. You know what I mean? Just it's sad. It's a sad situation, and it symbolizes a lot. But he and after his vision, he gets up and he burns it all, and he's breaking down traditions. He's like, "Yo, ain't nobody gonna be king after me. I'm running this because it's personal." So they managed to save. Fast forward to where his mom, his sister, and Nakia are in the mountains with the Jabari. They give him the heart shaped herb. They crush it and they give him the heart shaped herb. He gets better. They devise a plan to overthrow Eric as he's on the throne and stuff. And Eric is already starting his campaign to activate the war dogs or sleeper cells and, Wakandan sleeper cells in all the countries around the world and take over. We about to get, we're going to take over the planet. So he starts his campaign. And, we're at the end now, Act 3. The Black Panther lives. They're going to go fight Eric, and there's like a divide of factions. You have certain tribes with Eric. You got Wakanda, the Wakandan. Who are they called? What are they called? It just left my mind. Like I know, who I'm talking about. It's the Wakandans. It's a Wakandan civil war. Because the two factions are warring with each other, because some people want to follow Eric. Some are like, Eric Stevens he's an outsider and he's not the true king. T'Challa is the true king. So there's this big fight. T'Challa and Eric, they fight in the mountain of where the vibranium is. T'Challa wins the fight and, he shows him the Wakandan sunset because the sunsets there are the most beautiful in the world. And yeah, that's the end of Black Panther. Now let's get into my political, spiritual miracle take on this. I do have a topic question. We'll get that when I get into the second part of this episode. But I'm going to get into my political stuff right at this moment. I didn't get into too much details because y'all know what I'm talking about. I did speak for friggin' almost 15 minutes about the damn film. So those are for I don't know who these people are. If you ever hear this, like if you haven't seen Black Panther, what are you doing with your life? Go see it. So, The Black Panther, Part 1. Revolutionary for Marvel to have not so much a villain, but an antagonist. Because I don't see Killmonger as a villain. Is it a personal villain between the Black Panther and Killmonger? Yes. Eric Stevens, if I did clarify. But Killmonger is a Black Panther villain. Overall, based in the big universe that is the MCU, he is not a villain. He is not a villain to me. He really ain't, because he's not his yes, his the underlining thing of his cause is a selfish thing. It's a personal thing, and he didn't really care like that. You know what I'm saying? I would say, like, yeah, like the cover of that is I'm gonna free everyone, but except here's the thing, because he's selfish, right? Because he's selfish, let's just say Killmonger Killmonger's campaign goes on. He beats T'Challa, and then the campaign goes forward, and he does his thing and takes over the world. It's not like he's taking over the world to free black people in the sense of, oh, white people are no longer in power. We're on top. What does on top look like? Is capitalism still a thing? Is it going to be a capitalist situation, or is it going to be a communist situation? Not in the sense of communist ideals, but like he's the one all and be all. Like he rules the world. You know what I'm saying? Like a tyrannical tyrant of the world because of his character and his, the traits of said character. And remember, the underlining thing of his thing is that it is a selfish thing, because it's a family issue, right? And you can get violent with your family. You can get violent without having to be physical. You know what I'm saying? All of that was doable, but the true purpose and cause of what he was doing was the pain that he felt when he found, you know what I mean? When he found out who his father was murdered by, who he is. It's a painful thing, right? Because everybody in this life is, you got to figure out who you are or become the person who you are and all these other things. And it's a painful thing for him, and he had nothing to do with it, right? And then he was left, you know what I'm saying? Like on top of having his own family murdered by his uncle murdered his fucking father. Like, who, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. The Dora Milaje. It just came back to me. My bad. Okoye is the general of the Dora Milaje. Now, uh, I'm gonna be on Killmonger more than anything, because part two I'm gonna be on T'Challa more than anything, for the obvious reasons. For obvious reasons. He's a villain technically because his thing is selfish, but he's an antagonist because the cause that he's doing is actually a just cause. Because that's what heroes do. Heroes fight for justice. He's fighting for justice for black people. It's justice that's long overdue. Because it's not just America that owes us, the world owes black people. We are not free. We are still oppressed and suppressed everywhere on this planet. Now, like, just the symbolism of one side of the family is African American, the other side of the family is African. And despite a personal issue between two brothers causes one to die, the symbolism of the ship leaving him is like, because he sees the ship over the projects where he's staying. Killmonger, young Killmonger, that is. And then the ship goes away. He sees the ship leave too. So, and he gets left in fucking Oakland, fam. Left that little boy in Oakland. Yeah. Yeah. It's not a good thing. And you know what's crazy? There's a scene between T'Challa and his pops when he's in the ancestral plane and he's talking to his pops and all his other ancestors and the Black Panthers before him. Excuse me, my mic not even near me. T'Challa and his pops are talking in the ancestral plane, and he's pissed off and he's yelling at his pops and he's yelling at all the Black Panthers before him. And homie is like, why did you leave him? Now I have to end this. I got to stop this because y'all created this monster. Dad, you specifically created this monster. And that's why I have to stop this. And then he does the noble thing of being the Black Panther and, taking back the throne and blah 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 blah, whatever. But it's just like it's one of those things where it's just like, yo, Thanos was right, Killmonger's right, and it's not too many Marvel villains because the Marvel heroes are great. Well, part one of the MCU anyway. The originals, they're amazing. Their character arcs, their story arcs are great. The villains, not so much. The villains suck. Up until like I'd say Civil War. Not even Zemo. We didn't even know who Zemo was, so they didn't even really focus on Zemo like that. Yeah, Zemo, he was a great addition in a piece into the story overall, but he was a great villain because he was a human going up against them, and he was killing them until you found out what he was really doing to the end. But the plan was going phenomenally in Civil War for a human to just be like, yeah, so this is that and that's this and that's why you guys are gonna be fighting, jerks. Blew up my country. But fucking after him, Killmonger. After him, Thanos. And then personally on my fanboy shit, personally they ruined Thanos. I get why they did Thanos like that in the MCU, but personally they ruined Thanos. Thanos is called the Mad Titan. He was going to end all of life, not on no humanitarian shit. Oh, the resources are finite, and the hardest choices come from the strongest wills, or whatever. This was some Thanos stuff where I say Thanos was right because we like just personally, like I see people in society and like if half of us do need to go, there is I don't think even should be like his thing was like it was unbiased, it's at random. F that. We know some people that need to go. Like for the greater good of humanity, there's a freaking group of people that should go. Nice chunk of them too. Thanos was right. But Killmonger was righter. You know what I'm saying? Feel me? Bombay. You know what I'm saying? Killmonger was righter. It's not a word, but still. Yeah, I went off tangent, but yeah, fucking Killmonger is one of the best villains that we've seen in the MCU. And yeah, he's up there like just understanding like, important characters, like he's up there. He's absolutely up there. He's above some heroes. Like he's super important because it's crazy because like it's like one of the biggest genres in film today is the superhero genre, and even the black film in said project, which is the MCU, is it's a social commentary. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's crazy that almost every black film is a social commentary. Almost every single one. Not all of them. And it was crazy. It's not all black films is a social commentary to black people. It's just a movie to us. But it's still a social commentary if you understand what I'm saying. You feel me? And with this movie, it was smart because everybody watches Marvel movies, and it should have been a social commentary, and it was a social commentary. But what was great is that it wasn't preachy, right? It's in the realm of Disney Marvel superhero thing. So it's like, I'm not going to get into the, Killmonger in the comics and the fanboy. We didn't do all that because he's a villain. But in the MCU, he's an antagonist. So, he was an important antagonist, man. He was honestly, it was just like, I feel two ways about it, right? Because T'Challa was noble and he's the light. You get what I'm saying? He's the hope. And this is my personal take on it. Yeah, T'Challa's the hope. Killmonger is what it is. He's what it is. You feel me? Like I can see, the whole thing of like having a hero and a villain in a story, that's the structure, that's the formula. But because he's a black radical. You know what I'm saying? I don't see anything wrong with it. In the scope of the story, in the telling of the story, he's the bad guy. Not to me. Not to me. Straight radicalism. Straight like what it is. And what's crazy is like in the real world, that's really what kind of needs to happen in some senses, because part two.